So getting released, right, always ends up being a good thing for you from the Cubs. Because it's 3
Yeah,
division
you know, I
championships.
never looked at it that way, but yeah, it was a stepping stone and a bridge to go somewhere else. Yeah, it opened another door.
I believe when you win a division, you get this thing called extra check.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get that with the Cubs, I can guarantee you that.
You did with 3 years with the Pirates,
Yeah,
you got that
sure
extra
did,
check.
yeah.
I think this dock was partially paid for the Cubs releasing you.
It was.
Yeah, they don't
It
release
was.
you, you're not here on this dock possibly.
That's true.
As nice as it is.
Yeah, that playoff money came in. I like to been World Series playoff money, but NLLC was
Did those Pirate teams, I mean, 3 years, back to back to back. The Phillies did it in 76, 77, 78. 3 years in a row. They're right there on the edge. 3 years in a row, the other team, whether it's the Dodgers or the Reds, went to the World Series. You are with the Pirates team. Was it a tight group of guys because you had been there and fought the battles?
yeah, that was you know, I grew up with the Reds, but the Pirates was a close knit team. I thought also it was kind of like the Phillies, you know, in a way. The Phillies were always a band of thieves looking people, you know.
Yes.
You know, just rough cut.
Beards and bellies
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what they call the 93
Yeah,
team.
yeah. And the Pirates were kind of like that too. We were a bunch of misfits from other organizations that got there one way or another, and you know, we didn't have the haircut rules like the Reds did. We didn't have the now the Reds have gone away from that. But when I was there, you had to wear black shoes. Right? You had to wear your hair couldn't touch your ears or couldn't touch your collar. You had to wear your uniform a certain way with the stirrups low, and you know, just like the old Big Red Machine days.
Sure.
And they even had a poster of Ron Oster in the clubhouse. This is how a Cincinnati Reds
Supposed to
is
look.
supposed to look.
Oster must have loved that.
Oh, yeah.
So the Pirates locker room was a good bunch of guys?
Yes. And then we used to have Nerf Basketball there too.
Yes.
And
Did you hold your own?
I did. Spanky LaValliiere won our tournament there. Spanky.
I'm not looking that he had ups. He must have done power moves.
No, this was horse. This is a game of horse. And actually, he had very soft hands. Not that I know that way, but I mean, he had a good touch. But Curtis Wilkerson beat me out to play him in the finals. So I was in the semifinals.
Well, obviously it worked. You're a pitcher in Pittsburgh. Obviously, that's where you're getting your recognition after coming through the Red system. Who were you hanging with? Who was your go-to guys?
Well, I mean, pitchers always hang out together. So in spring training, I would room with Bob Walk and John Smiley. On the road, you know, it would even get to the point where relievers would hang with relievers and starters. So, you know, Bob Patterson, Bob Kipper, Neil Heaton, those guys to hang out with.
When you won
Rich
these
Dolly.
divisions, you were one of the ones that ran out to the mound. You know, you were one of the ones that celebrated.
Oh yeah.
Is there one of the 3 times running out to the mound?
Well, the first time is all new to me, and I was happy to be there. And you think your career's gonna go on forever. You know, you always think that you're the exception and you're invincible and you're there for life. The second, after losing the first time, the second time, it wasn't quite as, we didn't celebrate as much. It was more like, okay, taking care of business. Now the next step is to beat the Braves and get to the World Series. We were in that mindset because the year before, I think, at least for me personally, I'm not speaking for everybody because I can't get inside everybody's mindset, but I think we were more happy to be there the first time around.
I get it.
Second time, we had something to prove, and it just didn't happen. I mean, we went down, we started our place and split with Braves, so it was one apiece. Go down to Atlanta with that damn tomahawk chop. I mean, from the time we landed at the airport there were all the employees of Delta standing on the wing of another airplane. Everybody's doing the chop. And everywhere you went, there was a chop being in your face. And we went down there and took 2 out of 3 from them in Atlanta. So now we're going back home saying we got to win 1 out of 2 at home. 1 out of 2. I mean, darn. That 7th game, Steve Avery pitched one of the best games I've ever seen pitch. I mean,
Lights out.
He was throwing 97 on knee high on the black and painting inside out corners, and that hard, nasty slider he had. He was just an artiste that night, and he was just unhittable.
And if we were doing a different interview with the Braves or a Bobby Cox guy, they would be going like this: year after year after year, we win our division.
That's right.
Year after year, right? You know, that it doesn't, because your story stops here. Their story, right? They don't jump up and down. They win 14 in a row, and they win how many World Series out of 14? 1 for 14.
Yeah.
So how hard is it to win the World Series?
Are you trying to make me feel guilty for not getting to for feeling sorry for myself not getting the World Series? Hey, I'll say it on record. I don't like the Braves too much to this day.
But as a kid, who was your team?
Oh man, I loved Hank Aaron, Rico Carty, Philippe Lou, Ron Reed, Pat Jarvis, the Bulldog, Dennis Minky, Ron Reed, all those Braves, all the Braves.
Did you collect cards? Did you have their cards?
Well, you put them in my bicycle spokes, but I mean, no, I was never. Even to this day, I'm not much of a memorabilia. I wish I would have been more going to play, because I could have got.
On this note, I'd like for you to show off all of the hits in this battle, all the marks.
See that black mark? That's from banging the bat on my shoe. There's a couple good bunts in this bat, probably.
Who'd you bunt off?
There's nobody I couldn't bunt against. I was.
You threw a couple names at me earlier before the tape.
Yeah, I actually got a bunt down against Nolan Ryan, and boy, I tell you what, he would look in at you like, son, if you got any sense, you'll bunt this ball right back to me. Let me turn 2, or else I'm gonna kill you. He would try to beat you, and I actually tried to use that in my philosophy pitching, because a lot of times when a batter gets in the batter's box, I can tell right then and there, when I was in my prime, if this was going to be a battle or if I had it. Just by the way, his mannerisms.
Let me throw a 2-time MVP award winner at you. Here's a guy that wins back-to-back MVPs. Dale Murphy. When he'd get in the batter's box. If these people look you up on the computer, how'd you handle yourself versus Dale Murphy?
Dale, I love you. For whatever reason, Dale was no problem for me. He was an easy out for me, and I thank him to this day. He must have felt sorry for me, but I don't know why. He just did not see the ball good, or else I looked like I was throwing harder than I was, or something. But he was probably my biggest name, easiest out. There's the little guys.
Mark Lemke?
Mark Lemke used to wear me out. Now, granted, he's the MVP of the World Series, so I gave him confidence, I think.
You gave him points on his batting average, which you gave him.
Yeah, but no, I was, I wasn't I was more of a flash in the pan than anything else. It took me a while to get there, a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifices. But boy, I tell people every day that I would give everything I have up, be 20 years old again, or starting over with no guarantee.
You worked and you earned it.
I would love to have another chance to do it and do it better.
Well, you did define the word perseverance, because whenever you weren't drafted, weren't picked, weren't desired, you found a way.
Yeah, and I've tried to analyze that, and I think the best way I can say it is I put all my eggs in one basket. So, not saying that's smart, but when you do that, you've got to give it 100%, because if you don't, you're stupid for putting all your eggs in one basket.
Well, the gamble was worth it. We're sitting here. So, only two areas left to ask before we wrap it up. One, it's 2012. The teams with the big payrolls aren't necessarily the ones at the top of the division.
Right.
The Washington Nationals are having some fun. The Oakland A's are having some fun. We're in that area, August, September, where it's, each game is key. Who do you like? What do you watch? Is there a pitcher? Is there a player? Any comments on today's players?
I don't have too much to say because, to be honest with you, when I quit baseball, well, I didn't quit it. The phone just quit ringing. Like what happened? But I was tired. I was burnt out on baseball. I was tired of baseball, and they were tired of me. So when I parted ways, for the first 3, 4, 5 years, I couldn't even watch it because I knew too many people personally in the game.
Makes sense.
And I'd see them pitch somebody that I couldn't get out, like I let them keep and get them out. And I go, God, you dumbass! Why didn't you do that? Or I'd see somebody pitch somebody the wrong way, and I'd say, no.
Should be throwing
You throw him the hook or the off speed or whatever, or whatever the situation may be. So I didn't watch baseball. Now I don't know. That means all the names I know are management. So it's easier to watch, but I only watch baseball in the playoffs. Once the playoffs come, I become young again, and I watch it, and I'm enthusiastic. Day in, day out, I couldn't tell you who was leading the league in the RA, who had most home runs, RBIs, or nothing. But I will say, I usually pick up a team probably around the All-Star break that's an underdog.
Yeah.
And this year I am pulling for the Washington Nationals.
You are going for the Nationals.
I think it's just a good story.
Do you think, obviously it's a great question to ask you to wrap this thing up. They've said 180 innings. Now it's talk to the media. The media needs something to talk about. 188 innings, they're going to shut Strasburg down no matter if it's the first round of the playoffs or the World Series. Do you really think they're going to shut him down to 180 innings?
I don't know, man. He is such a talent and such a franchise player. You don't want to jeopardize anything, but I tell you what, that is the. I just don't believe in the innings pitch being that big of a factor as opposed to being mechanically sound. Now I just know from my own experience pitching that if I had bad mechanics, I could throw 20 pitches and be sore as hell the next day.
Sure.
If I was nice and fluid and had good mechanics, I could throw 30 pitches in 3 days in a row. So the wear and tear to me doesn't come with throwing, it becomes wear and tear when you have bad mechanics.